Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Greetings from Brussels. For those of you who don't know me, I'm John Phelan. I'm Director General of ICMP, and it's really delighted to welcome you here today for this special event being hosted by ICMP in partnership with MUSO. We're here today to demonstrate and to discuss a really exciting new project for ICMP. Of course, our day job on behalf of the global music publishing industry is to make sure that we have the optimum legal and business environment for music publishing to thrive in all areas of digital, broadcast, offline, etc. And principally, we do that through law reforms, work with societies, public authorities, etc. With this new project in partnership with MUSO, we're taking a first. ICMP is launching a new tool, technology-driven, in order to enable music publishers of all sizes to be able to better protect their content online. MUSO is an excellent company which works across the creative industries, tackling piracy, which remains a pervasive and profound problem for music publishers of all genres and of all kinds. This is very much a known unknown of the music industry, sheer scale of piracy online. And I would really encourage all companies and FDAs today to further investigate the scale of piracy. In the work areas that we've been looking at it, such as App Store piracy, it's really a big problem. So we're about trying to provide solutions. And the solution that we're providing today is the new anti-piracy platform powered by MUSO. This has been a project long in gestation. We've been working extremely closely with the ICMP expert group on classical music and rights. And that, of course, is co-chaired by Kathleen Marsh from Music Notes in the US and Chris Butler in London, both board directors. And that group has been working to identify the best technological solution for tackling these piracy problems. That is MUSO, and that's with Andy, Chief Executive Officer, who's joined us today, alongside his two colleagues, Shane and Bruce Waters. So today is going to be a very interactive session. It's going to be about the possibility to demonstrate how MUSO works, and of course, provide the opportunity for ICMP members to ask any questions that they might have. Before I pass over to the Chief Executive of MUSO, Andy Chatterley, I just wanted to emphasize one unique feature of this tool. Not only is it a new technologically driven tool, but it represents great value members of all. The ICMP board that we will pay setting up for the. We will also pay annual. That means ICMP members of any shape or will simply contribute for the per monthly basis. And that means we're the cost of visitors with a bar. We'll speak to that in more just a moment. And if I can ask participants to go back, you can hear me. But in the meantime, the executive music.
I think there's some delays. I think participants could go on to mute. I think that's I missed a little bit of that last speech. Can everybody hear okay? Is the audio okay? Yeah. Presuming by silence, that's okay. It just seems to be quite a nasty echo as we're speaking, so I'm not sure what's causing that.
If I may jump in, sorry, it's just Shane. When you're sharing audio, it makes that echo. So if you could just share without sharing audio, it would fix the problem. Sorry about that.
Excellent. Very good. Thank you very much. And John, thank you very much. I'm happy to jump in. It's a real pleasure to actually get to speak to you. As John said, this initiative has been going on for quite a long time, and we've worked extremely closely with John and Kathy and the team over the years. The webinar is structured this way. I'm going to give a little bit of brief background information about who we are and what we do, and then I'll pass over to my colleagues to sort of talk a little bit more about the service that we offer. I think to cover who we are probably needs a very brief bit of background information on me, actually. I still am a published writer with BMG. I worked as a record producer and a songwriter and really experienced the problem of piracy firsthand, going all the way back in 2009 when the company started. And actually what happened is my wife's album leaked to Piracy about 10 days before the actual proper release. And we were going for quite a high chart position at that time. Her previous record had been very successful. And 10 days before the release came out, we had no idea what to do about the problem of piracy. And we turned to various bodies in the music industry and some external vendors and had a terrible experience, because what we didn't know was what we were losing. What we didn't know is the impact that piracy was having on our chart position. And MUSO's roots in the technology and in the way that we have approached being in business, protecting content for rights holders over the last decade or so, has always fundamentally come down to this understanding of what it is to lose revenue and lose value in your intellectual property. This is at the core of everything that MUSO's done over this period of time. And so when we get the opportunity to speak to publishers and to work with trade bodies like the ICMP and the MPA, for us, it's much about trying to understand how we can protect your value and how we can improve the service. And what are the things that we can do to work together collaboratively to make sure that we protect your content, not only immediately, but in the future as things develop. And, please, as we get to work together and we get to hopefully make a significant impact on sheet music piracy, please speak to us. Please come and help us create the service and adapt the service as we move forward. So, MUSO is a global company with offices in London, a small presence in the US, and a large tech presence in Romania. We're just over 50 people at the moment and sort of growing. We work across the whole media sector. So all media sectors. We work for film companies, TV companies, broadcasters. We work extensively with people like the European IPO on data projects. We work with music companies. We provide anti-piracy strategies to all of the independent sector members of AIM. We work with major games companies like PlayStation, Nintendo. We work with Disney, Amazon, and all kinds of media companies. And the benefit of this is we're stronger together. So together we are measuring piracy. We understand what's happening. We are at the coalface of piracy across all of these media sectors. And we take all of that data and all of those learnings and all of that information about sites and local laws about getting content removed. And we apply that to all of our customers and try to improve our technology. Now, I think it would be remiss of me to not also call out the piracy is extremely complex. It's extremely challenging. It's a very difficult area. Sometimes there's compliancy, other times there isn't compliancy. But it's important to us that we work with you to improve the service and to actually make a significant impact. We're not always going to get it right, but we will get it right by working with you guys to understand the nuances, the sites, the challenges, the difficulties, and the positive wins that we can get. This is not going to be an overnight victory in helping rights holders protect, their content from sheet music piracy or even audio piracy. But over time, we can make significant differences and significant impact into this challenge that we all face as songwriters, me personally, or rights owners like everyone on this call today. So we're here for you. I think we want to learn, work, come and really understand the problems that you're experiencing. We are the experts on piracy, so let us help lead in that respect. We are going to hear from another music publisher shortly, who's been using the service for sheet music. So we thought that would be great for you guys to hear from one of your peers. but we're also going to be running some polls today, and I've got the pleasure of announcing the first poll question, which is going to pop up shortly after I say it. But essentially, we'd love to know if you are aware of how sheet music piracy is impacting your business. So when you see that poll come up, if you can answer that, all of the information that we get will help us to sort of make the service better. So that's it from me. I won't take up too much more of your time. I'll be questions later, but I'll pass back to Shane.
Hello, I'm James Eggleston, Vice President of Publishing at Boozy & Hawkes Music Publishers. I'm a designated director of the UK MPA and a member of the ICMP Classical Expert Group. Piracy is not new to our industry. It has long had a corrosive, wearying effect on our business, the intellectual property and writers we represent, and fundamentally has negatively impacted our customers and their choice. Until recently, tackling digital online sheet piracy has been akin to playing what one can describe as a losing game of whack-a-mole. It is an admin-heavy burden, yielding poor results and shackles to the issuing of takedown notices. Thanks to the team at MUSO and their experience of protecting digital IP in other media, we now have a tool that can undertake the heavy lifting and neutralize this illegal activity on a global scale. Fortunately, this is with the minimum of direct involvement from the publisher, save from the initial provision of that necessary metadata. I can personally vouch for this tool, having used it extensively through the UK's MPA PMLL, that's Printed Music Licensing Limited scheme, and I can vouch for its effectiveness at the coalface. It is a great moment to be bringing this tool now to a global audience, and chapeau to my colleagues at ICMP and MUSO for allowing this to happen.
Excellent. So thank you very much for responding to that poll. I'm now going to pass over to my colleague, who I believe is Bruce Waters, taking over from here.
Thank you, Andy, and thank you very much, John, for inviting us to be here. I'm delighted to be speaking to everybody today. And to begin with, I would like to ask our second poll question, which is, have you been sending takedowns yourself or doing anti-piracy work in-house? And that too should shortly be popping up on the screen. Okay, so I would like to speak briefly about the nature of sheet music piracy online. And what do we mean by sheet music piracy? It is the distribution of copyrighted musical works digitally without the authorization of the rights holder. And by musical works, we are referring to the written score, which may appear in various forms. And this excludes sound recordings. Very simply, sheet music is being illegally posted online for consumers to access for free, or in some cases behind a paywall. And as Andy mentioned, while all creative content can experience digital piracy, it is a complicated issue for music publishers, as the works can appear in a number of different formats and a number of different guises online. Works can be posted as digital editions or even a scan of the physical parts and scores. And these are typically the original editions as published by the rights holders, which are being made available. They can be lead sheets, which can include lyrics, chord changes and melody, and can appear both in the original form again, or even as copies created by individuals. We see educational materials being posted online. These can be items such as instructional books or content for learning instruments and music theory, as well as examination material or grades. And as well as these, there are often arrangements or transcriptions of works which have been notated by musicians and uploaded to file sharing websites. If you can move to the next slide, please. Thank you. Sheet music piracy presents challenges within the global piracy landscape due to the nuances of this media type. Infringing material is made available through a range of different site types and platforms online. There are general piracy sites, which are those which provide consumers with all different media types, including film and TV, music, software, and books. And they can also include sheet music. Now, these types of sites generally include torrent platforms, download sites, and online reading platforms. There are also sites specializing in providing sheet music only. And as these don't typically offer other types of content, they cater to a specific audience and may contain works which would not appear on more generalist platforms. User-generated content sites are those which allow internet users to upload files themselves to share and make available through the platform's online catalog. On these types of sites, there are often both copies of the work in their original forms, but as well as that, we have the user arrangements, transcriptions, or versions created by the users themselves. In some instances, works are being sold by rogue e-commerce sites who are actually charging a fee to access the work. These sites are also those which typically specialize in music publishing piracy and sheet music piracy. And in some cases, these can also be educator sites. We also find that musical ensembles or educators also share sheet music through their own websites for their members or students, and these can become available to all internet users. And infringements across all of these platforms can be indexed by search engines, which means that a consumer can use Google to locate content through a very simple search. And by accessing these types of platforms, consumers are able to download the works to their device for offline access, or use them directly through their web browser. And I'm going to hand back to Shane briefly. So over to you, Shane.
Yeah, hello everybody, good afternoon, and thank you for joining. And so I'm Shane, I'm going to be your customer success manager when you sign up to ICMP's anti-piracy platform. And what we're looking at here is we're trying to understand, I suppose, what the size of the piracy market for sheet music specifically looks like, and then therefore what impact that would have you on your business or the association. I'm also going to ask a question. So I'm wondering if you can give a guesstimate into the website visits per annum for sheet music piracy websites specifically. So we know that recording industry obviously has a huge number of unique website traffic, but I'm wondering if you know roughly what sheet music piracy looks like in terms of web traffic. So when I'm dealing with customers like day to day, oftentimes, they're running a successful business, the revenue is good, the top line is good, and they're obviously earning a profit. And piracy, it's such a big, scary topic, right? It's never going to be cured. It's always changing in terms of websites and ISP hosts and so on. So it's almost a scary topic to even start tackling. But the truth is that piracy is a habit. So if we can break the pirates' habit to pirate sheet music and get them to steer towards purchasing sheet music, that habit is intrinsic. And then once they start purchasing sheet music, they could continue to purchase it thereafter. So it's breaking that cycle of accessing piracy websites, downloading pirated sheet music or books of sheet music, and steering them towards our for-profit legal websites. Additionally, piracy is a silent competitor for you. It's stealing your revenue. There's no market research per se on the amount of revenue that you are losing on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. But what I'm going to share now is a infographic that we have here in MUSO. So in 2022, the correct number of traffic site visits to sheet music piracy websites specifically was over 3 billion. And based on the facts based on the number of visits for H1 in 2023, we project that will see an over 10% increase in 2023. Now, we as Andy said, we're the experts in piracy, as well as the Protect product, which is what we're discussing with you today. We also have other products, including a market research product, which calculates and tracks piracy numbers online. So we stand over these figures. Now, if you factor into the average cost of sheet music in a front shop like Music Notes, for example, it to be estimated about $5 to $10. You can imagine what the size of the lost revenue market looks like. Now, of course, not every unique visit to a piracy website transacts in a downloading of a pirated material, but just one visit means that a person could potentially download multiple pirated sheet music. So obviously it's not 3 billion by $5, but I will leave that up to you to decide how big the potential market could be. Now, there is one other item as well that when a company is managing in-house the takedowns or the trying to tackle it, there's obviously an opportunity cost in the number of man hours and the time wasted. I'm dealing with customers who's like GM is dealing with takedowns. Of course, in MUSO, we do that in an automated way. Because we're dealing with a number of compliant websites, we can be quite aggressive in the number of takedowns in terms of file takedowns or indeed Google delistings or search engine Google delistings. So yeah, it's a huge issue for the sheet music industry specifically. Obviously, a much larger issue for recording music, but I thought that would bring kind of a little bit more focus and lens to the potential issue that we're speaking about here today. Over to you, Bruce.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Shane. And I'm now going to speak a little bit about the ICMP IPP powered by MUSO. So MUSO Protect is a digital content protection system which continually searches for online infringements. It sends takedown notices and it provides users with a dashboard to view all takedown activity. How this works essentially is that MUSO's web crawlers continuously scan a vast database of verified piracy domains, as well as a Google search engine. It's highly scalable and able to scan a large number of sites and piracy pages for a large volume of works. Through these scans, it identifies and captures infringements which appear on piracy websites, as well as pages which have been indexed by Google. As our search under this scheme covers piracy domains only, we exclude legal platforms to prevent legitimate content from being identified. We will then verify the results by using metadata algorithms to accurately match those infringements we find to the works which are being protected. And by using metadata, we're able to do this at scale across a very, very broad range of sites and apply filters to block non-pertinent results. Once an infringement has been verified and matched to the work which we are protecting, a takedown notice is issued to the site hosting the work, and search engine delistings are sent to Google. And there's a slight difference between the two. The takedown to the site will result in the removal of the infringing file itself, whilst the search engine delisting prevents a link from appearing in search results and thereby making it more difficult for consumers to locate that infringement through search. And as the piracy landscape is constantly changing, we're continually adding new sites to our piracy database to get the most comprehensive coverage. And as Andy mentioned, working closely with our customers to really identify where the problem areas are to address. If you could kind of move to the next slide, please. The ICMP members are offered through the ICMP portal automated content protection at scale for their works. We make it simple to ingest your metadata through either a templated form, or we can work with you during the onboarding phase to collect the required information for setup. And at minimum, we need the composer or artist's name, the work title, and a link to a legal example of the work. The legal example could simply be a link to a copy for sale on an authorized website. And we're also able to accept any whitelists which you may wish to share with us. All works under protection will have automated search across piracy sites in our piracy database and on Google search engine. And of course, takedowns will be issued for infringements matched and identified to your titles. And as Shane mentioned, we cover both the file takedowns itself as well as Google delistings. And a feature of every account, every dashboard, will be the ability to submit any link for takedown using our simple submit infringements tooling, which we'll look at in a moment. And each member who is using the scheme is provided with their own dashboard in which all takedown activity is available to review and export as well in CSV, PDF, and PNG formats. Move to the next slide, please. The coverage of the scheme focuses on web piracy sites for search and takedown, which covers numerous piracy platforms, CyberLocker, torrent sites, and Google search engines, to name a few. Now, whilst the search component doesn't cover social and UGC sites, we are able to accept links from these sites for takedown through the Submit Infringements portal, and we're happy to speak to individual members about the inclusion of add-ons for social and UGC platforms. Each member using the service is provided with a dashboard, and for which all company stakeholders can be provided access. So if there are multiple people in the business who need to use the dashboard, each person will be provided with their login. And here we see a couple of screenshots of the portal in which all takedown activity is displayed. It's at a high level for all titles, and there's also filters available to go down into a granular view. And on the next slide, more images of the dashboard, and we record every takedown notice that is sent and various details around that particular link. And all of that data, again, is available to view and export. For each link, we provide an audit trail, which will display the status and actions taken for each infringement. And then finally, on the next slide, we have an image of the Submit Infringements tooling. And this is where any link can be submitted quickly and easily to your dashboard, for which MUSO will then issue a takedown. And multiple links can be put in there at once. There's no limit to the number of infringements that can be added in there. And more information and videos about the dashboard is available for ICMP members. Thank you very much. I'll now hand back to Shane.
Yeah, thanks, Bruce. What happens next? So if you wish to, I would provide you with a demo of the tool, right? So we'll meet one-to-one. We will go through the dashboard, understand a little bit about your business, and then once you're onboarded, which is providing us your metadata, as Bruce outlined, and that's in the form of a spreadsheet or another file that you may have, we will ingest that into our automation, and it's that simple. You'll be ready to go. The website we will share with you where you can express your interest, and I will get in touch with you. We'll organize a one-to-one, and I will give you a full overview of the dashboard, provide you with training, and understand how that works. Additionally, obviously, you will have access to the FAQ section, how-to type questions. You will receive multiple logins per organization. So if you have team members that would also be interested in understanding the results of the piracy protection, or would indeed like to submit infringements, we can provide your entire team with their own credentials, and that will access the customized landing page for your business. Me as CSM, I'm here to ensure that you get the value from the product, and that you're happy. We will meet regularly. I'll understand if you have any feedback, and we'll obviously take that internally. So my job is to make sure it's running successfully for you, and to build a strategic relationship going forward to make sure that everybody's happy. And it's that simple. So the website address where you can sign up will be shared after the call. And if you have any questions, now is a perfect time. Thank you.
Shane, do you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, this is Pierre Limoine.
Hello.
Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, I just have a question. What elements exactly are you capturing during your scan of all the different pirate database? Is that titles, author, or do you scan notes, music notes?
Perfect. Bruce?
Yeah, I'll pick this one up. Thank you very much for the question. So we are scanning solely for the metadata, which will include the composer, the artist's name, the title of the piece, or other associated text references to that. We're not scanning like a PDF image or the notes on the staves.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question. This is James at Alfred Music.
Hi, James.
Hi. In regards to the identification of some sites as being legitimate and therefore excluding them from the searches that the program is going to perform, is there any allowance for the idea that there may be services out there which some publishers license that other publishers do not?
Yeah, really good question, James. So there's two answers to that. Firstly, you can provide us with a whitelist. So any organization that you would like to be excluded for scanning, we can update our automation to not scan and send takedown notices for any metadata matches on those websites. And the second thing is that generally speaking, we don't scan popular shopfront websites like Amazon, for example, because obviously metadata would come matching back there. But if there are specific instances on the shopfront websites, you can submit the infringement through our submit infringement button in the dashboard, and we'll issue takedown notices. So yeah, so you can provide us a website, and we do not track consciously some of those sites, and I can share those with you post-call if you need me to.
Understood. Great.
Daniel Dorff from Theodore Presser. I wonder about compliance and enforcement. Are there teeth that help?
Yeah, Bruce, this falls under your area.
Yeah, it's a good question. As Andy mentioned at the start of this call, compliance is always a challenge, and for us, it's really at the heart of what MUSO Protect is. It's an incredibly important element of anti-piracy, and we have a team that is constantly reviewing and trying to gain more compliance. And we've got various processes to escalate to intermediaries where we may have instances of non-compliance. But there will be situations where a site or an intermediary, a service provider, will not comply with the notice, be it due to territorial issues or whatever. And in that case, what we are able to do is provide evidence of actions that have been taken. The audit trail, for example, in the dashboard, should a party wish to take legal action to look at other alternatives to address that particular site.
Thank you.
Does anyone in the room maybe have any further questions for the experts at MUSO?
Hi there, Matt Phipps-Taylor at Peer Music. Could you tell us a bit more about the metadata import? What does that process look like? What do you actually need?
Yeah, Bruce?
Yeah, of course, happy to. The minimum requirements that we would need when we are importing your titles into our system will be the name of the work. Now, this could be the name of a piece, it could be the name of a book, a how-to guide, an exam, the content title, along with the composer name, the artist name, potentially, depending on the work, or the author name. And the third item is the URL or the link, sorry, to reference a legal copy of that work. So for us, when we import it, it's generally importing a table into our database. So we have a template to use that you could populate, or we can work with you if you have your data is structured in a particular way in a database. We can work with what you have to import it. But generally, it's a relatively quick process once we have the information together. I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, thank you. And a follow-up question, if I may. In terms of the database of pirate sites, and then you've got a list of licensed sites, let's call it, or legal sites. I guess there is also the scenario of legal site, which is using unlicensed content. Are you going down to that level of detail? It doesn't sound like it, though, based on the what you've just described for importing metadata.
I would say no here, but I think these are the kind of instances that we would work with you to understand that issue, because it's not always clear cut. There could be one company has licenses in site X, but company B doesn't. We do have the ability to whitelist, and on the flip side of that, we have the ability to blacklist for certain companies and not for others. So I think for certain platforms, for certain sites, it might be a case by case with regard to our crawling. But when it comes to the takedown side, we can essentially submit it to any platform, be it could be Amazon or something like that. There's no restrictions from the takedown side. It's just the identification and search.
Okay, thanks.
Another question from Pure Music. This is Karen Heyman. Can you hear me?
Yes, Karen.
Hi, Karen. Yes, we can. Hi.
Great. Just to clarify for the metadata, would we also be able to submit additional title names under one work for instance, movement titles or translations of the piece? Is there free reign in terms of that information?
Absolutely, yes. This can work for translations or AKAs in different languages. And equally, if there are different movements to a piece or perhaps different chapters in a book, these can all be included within the dashboard, within the protection. Yes.
Great, thank you.
Kathy, I see you have your hand up, and do you want to come off mute? Do you have a question?
Yes, I do. It's just a follow-up to the non-compliance question. In the case of non-compliance, what is your success rate in submitting that information to Google and having that website delisted?
Thanks, Kathy. Google, we have a very, very high success rate with them for delisting links from their search engines. We're actually registered with Google through their trusted copyright removal program, so we do get priority removals from them on bulk. I wouldn't say it's 100% because there can sometimes be a few issues, but it would certainly be 99% in for almost all cases.
Thank you.
Just as a follow-up on that, so all of that would be seamless and automated without any manual intervention. So we have integration, our technology is integrated with Google, so that's a kind of a seamless takedown process. So that's why I think also the effectiveness is so high and also so quick. Obviously each kind of request can be different, but we expect somewhere a bit less than 24 hours for a takedown with the Google delisted once verified. Sometimes it can take a little bit longer than that, but generally speaking, we have quite high responsiveness. Anybody else? Anybody have any other questions?
Nobody? Sounds like you've done a great job then, clarifying. In any case, if any question came to mind after this call, obviously please do not hesitate to reach us at antiPiracyPlatform@icmpmusic.com, and both our team and the experts at MUSO will be receiving your questions, and we'll be able to solve them. I'll pop the contact details in the link now. And on that note, thank you very much, Andy, Shane, Bruce, and the whole MUSO team for the great effort setting up this first off tool for ICMP members, and for taking the time to guide us through the platform today. Last reminder that all you need to do is go to muso.com/ICMP, as you can see in the chat, to sign up. And of course, we encourage all our members to sign up and all our MPA members to share this tool with their members. Again, don't hesitate to contact us if you'd like any further information or clarification. Us or our colleagues at MUSO will be happy to help. Well, thank you to our members that have joined us today. Don't miss out also on next week's ICMP digital series on artificial intelligence. Same time next week. The link I'm just going to share now on the chat box, and we will go in depth to discuss the latest developments on AI globally and the implications for the global music industry, with insights on Europe, US, and China. So on that note, we'll leave you to enjoy the rest of your day, and thanks again for joining.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye. Thank you.